Yes, indeed, guys. Welcome back to the channel. It's Jay Jordan, and I'm here to recap the Liberty's game against the Connecticut Sun today. The Liberty put on another beat down on another team for their second home win in a row. They beat the Sun 81 to 65. The game was earlier today at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on CBS at the Barclays Center in downtown Brooklyn, New York. It was another great game from what I saw. Wasn't able to attend in person, but I did catch the second half live, and I went back to watch the first half just to get a feeling of the game and what happened in the first half compared to what I saw in the second half. So we're going to get into the game. We're going to get into the stats, the press conference, and my thoughts about what I saw and what I think could help the team or what could be adjusted a little bit. So let's get right into it. As I mentioned, the Liberty beat the Sun 81 to 65. Um, the starters for the Connecticut Sun were Natisha Heidemann, Tiffany Hayes, Brianna Jones, Alyssa Thomas, and Dewana Bonner. For the Liberty, it was the same five that have been starting for them since the season opener. We have Courtney Vandersloot, Sabrina Ionescu, Benijah Laney, Brianna Stewart, and Jonquel Jones. It was a coming home party for Rebecca Allen of the Connecticut Sun. She played her first 7 years here with the Liberty before she was traded this offseason to the Connecticut Sun in exchange for Jonquel Jones and that three-team trade that took place actually. So it was Jonquel playing against her former team as well as Rebecca Allen playing against her former team. Before the game, I had figured they would try to get Jonquel Jones really involved early. She's coming off of like a foot injury that she suffered earlier in the year. So when you see her on the floor, she looks very sluggish and slow. She's not getting not a lot of lift. So that's something to keep in mind. But I figured they would try to get her some shots early and often. She did score the first basket on a nice move down in the paint, and the Liberty started off fairly strong, but Connecticut took off in that first quarter. Um, Tiffany Hayes was a problem. She was hitting her mid-range jump shot. She hit some threes. Natisha Heidemann as well. And they won that quarter 23 to 17 at the end of the first quarter. The ball, I will say, on offense, the ball was moving around a lot for the Liberty. They during this whole week of practice that they had no games, they were able to get a lot of work in that they couldn't get to during training camp. So you could really see the difference in the progression from the first game, even the game on Sunday and the game now. We were getting a lot of good looks. There were some possessions where people would pick up their dribble and we would get into some trouble there with turnovers and the ball being stagnant. But for the most part, the ball was moving around. The defensive intensity was there. It wasn't perfect as we gave them 23 points in that first quarter, but you could see glimpses of what the potential of this team in that first quarter. Let's get to that. Let's get to the subs. I'm starting to notice a pattern in the substitutions for Sandy Brondello. That first sub is always John Quell comes out and Stephanie Dolson comes in at the center position. This time, John Quell only had one foul. I know the last game she had two fouls before she got subbed out. But I'm starting to see Stephanie Dolson at the moment is that sixth man off the bench. Later on in the game, in the quarter, I should say, then she would do a substitution. Kayla Thornton comes in, Benijah Laney goes out. So I'm thinking that's her pattern there because Benijah and Kayla are sort of a like for like, even though Benijah could be more offensively gifted than Kayla. They both are there to be that defensive wing player. Nyara Sabally scored her first bucket with like 8 minutes left in the second quarter. A nice post up move, nice up under right off the glass. She played really well today, and we'll get into her stats later. That in that second quarter, the defense really started coming into its own. We were really rotating. We were getting out to shooters. We were blocking shots. We were doing everything in the paint, getting steals, and we really shut them down that quarter. The offense sort of stagnated a little bit because we were playing some reserves. We were mixing and matching rotations. Players that haven't played together before, like Nyara on the floor. She even had a lineup with Nyara and Steph Dolson in the game. So it was a lot of different lineups she was experimenting with in that second quarter. So we both teams scored 15 points in that quarter. So you can see the Connecticut Sun went from 23 in the first to 15 in that second quarter. When we get after halftime, that's when the real difference started to happen. The defense was on fire in that third quarter. We were stealing the ball, blocking shots, rotating, and then the offense picked up. Our big guns really started to put in work. Brianna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu, Courtney Vandersloot. They scored 23 of the 25 points in that quarter for us, with Benai Jelani scoring the other two. We hit 5 threes in that quarter, and we held the Connecticut to 13 points in that quarter. So you can see the defense was getting much better as the quarters went on. They started off with 23 in the first, 15 in the second, and now we're at 13 in the third. The fourth quarter, it was more of the same. Stellar defense, hitting shots, passing the ball around the wings, and we outscored them 24-14. So you can see as their offense began to descend, ours ascended. So we scored 25 points and 24 points in the third and fourth quarters, respectively. That puts us at 49 points in the second half compared to the 32 that we had in the first. Let's get into the actual stats. Let me show you guys the stats here. For the Connecticut Sun, as I mentioned, the starters here. Dewana Bonner, the veteran, very inefficient, 4 for 13. She had some crazy Hail Mary 3 with the shot clock winding down that went in. She's always good for one of those wild shots. But she had 14 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists on 4-13 shooting, 2 of 5 from 3, with 2 blocks. Alyssa Thomas, as I mentioned, only 5 points, had 8 rebounds, limited her in the assist category as well. Had 4 turnovers and 4 fouls, a -12. 0 for 5 from the field, so she only got her points at the free throw line. Brianna Jones getting more opportunity now that Jonquel Jones is out. She had 12 points, 8 rebounds, 5 for 9. She played pretty solid. You see, she had 4 steals and 2 blocks. She was doing her thing on the defensive end. I saw she was taking a lot of those mid-range jump shots. For the Liberty, I will live with Brianna Jones taking as many mid-range jump shots as possible, as long as she doesn't get within 5 to 10 feet of the basket and she's posting up. I'll live with the 15, 20-foot jump shots. Tiffany Hayes, she was cooking early. I think she scored like 9 points in that first quarter. She took a hard fall. I think she has something wrong with her right hand that she was holding a lot throughout the second half of that game. But she has 16 points, 6 of 13 shooting, 2 for 5 from 3, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Natisha Heidemann, starting point guard. She started off hitting her first three, had a couple layups as well, but another inefficient night for another Sun player. 3 for 13, 8 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. She did have 3 steals, which we do have to clean up, but she also had 3 turnovers to go with it. It looks like the coach for the Suns, Stephanie White, she's playing like a very short rotation this early in the season. She only played 6 people significant minutes. As you can see, the starters all had 29 or higher minutes. You had Olivia Nelson Adota with 5, Rebecca Allen, ex-Liberty player, with 16, Ty Harris 7, Dejanay Carrington got some garbage minutes with 1, and like I think that's Lexi Brown, if I remember, Leah Brown. She only had 7 minutes, 0 for 1, no points. As you can see, they only got 10 points from their bench. Ty Harris hit a 3. I think she had like 2 threes. Yeah, 2 threes and a layup. And Rebecca Allen only contributed 2 points, -15. You can see the rest of the bench didn't get enough minutes to make a difference. Let's scroll down to the Liberty. The Liberty, um, Sabrina Ionescu, 17 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, a plus 11. She had one turnover, which is good. The turnover she had was still pretty dumb, but one turnover, I can't complain about one turnover. 6 for 16, tied for the most shots on the night with Stewie. She played good. She was hitting her threes. She's gonna get a lot of looks, especially with the attention Brianna and John Quell are gonna get. I do think the one thing she'll need to do is when they bring the double team towards her and they trap her, she needs to be able to make the right decision out of that trap. I did notice that one time she got like a lucky pass over and Kayla Thornton missed the layup. But that's one thing that I'll just nitpicking, just so she can be better served as the floor general when they bring Courtney Vandersloot to the bench. Vandersloot, 18 points, 10 assists, 6 rebounds, almost on triple double watch. Had a nice double double. She was getting everybody involved and plus looking for her shot, which is always a welcome sign. They were leaving her open from three. She was shooting it. She was getting that off leg layup, going off the wrong foot and laying it up. Um, Doing what she could on the offense to get everybody involved. John Quell, 7 points, 3 rebounds, one block, one turnover, 5 fouls. That's one thing with Jonquel right now. You can see she looks slow. She's fouling a lot. Not really getting up on the rebound, just trying to tap it out sometimes. Um, and that's taking her out of the game because she's getting in foul trouble. So I'm giving her some grace. We do need to see her improve, but I know she's coming off of a foot injury, as I mentioned. So it's going to take her some time to get her game legs back under her. So later on in the season, I expect to see a better John Claude Jones. Benijah Laney, I have thoughts on this that I'm going to touch on at the end of the video. But 2 points, 1 steal, 1 assist, 4 rebounds, 2 turnovers, 2 fouls, 1 for 3. I know, I knew that coming into the season, Benijah, she would suffer the most because of all the offensive talent that we acquired. But I sort of feel bad for her. I'm gonna touch on it a little later. But um, three attempts in 27 minutes. It's tough for somebody who was uh, a pretty important offensive part for us in the past couple seasons. And Stewie, all reliable, coming off the 45-point night on Sunday. She had 21, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 6 steals, 4 blocks. She was doing her. She was everywhere. I feel like every time I looked in that second half, she was getting her hand on passes. People thought they could drive on her. Alyssa Thomas, Brianna Jones. It didn't matter who it was. DeWanna Bonner. She was blocking the shot. Stewie, I didn't know that she had that aspect in her game on the defensive end. I knew she was an offensive talent, but on the defensive end, that really shocked me. 6 steals, 4 blocks. Incredible. Let's scroll down to the bench. The bench really did much better than the past couple games. Kayla Thornton, she was getting a lot of backdoor layups. People were all eyes were on Brianna, and Kayla was cut backdoor, wide open layup. 6 points, 7 rebounds, a plus 19. That was a high for the day for the team. A plus 19. She was doing her thing, being aggressive on the offensive boards and defensive boards, which is always a welcome sight. We need somebody who's going to do that dirty work out there. Nyara Sabally, our player, our rookie. I'm gonna call her a rookie since it's her first year actually playing. She had 6 points, 3 rebounds in 14 minutes, a plus 11. She looked really smooth on the offensive end. She has a nice little floater. She was a nice back to the basket game, trying to get people involved as well. She was passing the ball around. It was great to see for her first minutes as a WNBA pro. Stephanie Dolson, 6 women off the bench, 2 points, 4 assists, 2 rebounds, 2 turnovers. She was making like she was trying to thread the needle like she was some real like magician with the ball, like some real person who's a real good passer, like a Vandersloot. She was trying to thread needles, and I appreciate the effort, but we do need her to make a little bit better decisions when she's making those passes. Um, I don't expect her to contribute a lot of points, but I do expect her to grab rebounds. She only had 2 rebounds in 15 minutes. And Hanshu, Jocelyn Willoughby, I'm not even going to really talk about them because they just came in for the last literally 50 seconds of the game. Hanshu, I'm not going to lie. Anytime Hanshu get in the game, the first touch, the ball's going, she's shooting it. She wide open at 3, she's shooting it. Don't matter where she on the floor, she going to shoot it. She took a 3, airballed it. But her next shot, she got an offensive rebound, put it right up. The crowd went crazy. You could hear it on the broadcast. At Barclays today, it was Asian American and Pacific Islanders Appreciation Day. I think that it's Appreciation Month actually. So that was a focus there. It's unfortunate she couldn't get any more minutes. I know in the last video I mentioned Sandy Rondello in the press conference did say that she's not going to be playing 11 players. So basically, people are going to have to get in where they fit in, for lack of a better term. But that's the unfortunate part of it. But she did score in her limited amount of time. Let's touch on the team stats. I'll show it to you guys here on the screen if you're watching on YouTube. We out rebounded them 39-33 in this game, which is good. Anytime you're leading in the boards, you have the best chance to win. For the assists, we really blew them out in assists, 25-13. We blew them out. Vandersloot had 10 of the 25 assists, so you could see how much we were moving the ball around and how everybody was feeling in the offensive flow. The turnovers, that's the part that I'm going to talk about that we need to improve. We had 13 turnovers, but they had 28 points off of our 13 turnovers, which is which is not good. Not good. It's like almost every time we turned the ball over, they scored. So that's something that we really do need to improve on, limiting our turnovers. And when we do turn the ball over, make sure we're getting back in help defense to limit the scoring off of them. We blew them out in fast break points, 11-1, which is good. And we destroyed them points in the paint, 40-22. So that's another good sign as well that we're not only hitting some outside shots, but we're focusing a lot on the interior. All right. So yeah, that was the game. I went back and watched that first half, and the stats really do reflect what I saw. I also looked at the play-by-play and everything. So it does reflect what I saw with they had just had a hot shooting start, the Sun that is. And then as the game went on, our defense really started to lock in and we really shut them down. They would look like they were begging for a lot of fouls as well. Anytime they went to the basket, they were complaining for fouls. So that's something to keep in mind. But we fought through and we ended up beating them by 16. All right, the next thing I wanted to talk about was the press conference. I follow a lot of Liberty accounts on Twitter, a lot of the Liberty beat reporters. The one I want to focus on is Miles Ehrlich. Shout out to Miles Ehrlich. I've been following his account since I started this channel to get a lot of the Liberty news and inside knowledge. I'll show you on the screen what Miles was talking about. We'll start top to bottom. Sandy Brondello and Kayla Thornton said it was a big role. She spoke to her in the tunnel after the game, and I told her how important she is to our success. She may not be a high usage player, but she's all effort and energy, which is good. And that showed tonight. She was really going for every rebound, cutting back door, playing tough defense, frustrating the Connecticut Sun. She spoke on Vandersloot, Coach Brondello. She said she's one of the smartest guards in the history of the game. It's unfortunate she was out for camp because she got a concussion during training at the beginning of training camp. But she's picking things up early as veterans do, and she's getting more accustomed to our offense. I'm gonna go through another one. Sandy Brondello spoke on Benija Laney. She said at halftime, we challenged the team to play harder. B, she's our defensive anchor that gives you energy, seeing your teammates play hard, and you feed off of it. I'm noticing that they're really going to Benija to guard that wing defender. She's very feisty. I can live with some of the fouls. I mean, unfortunately, she's not going to be a very heavy offensive presence, so that's where she has to make her mark. Sandy Brondello on the bench play of today, very important. Jonquel Jones got in some foul trouble, and she's still coming back. As I mentioned, she's still on her way back. All of them came in and really played solid minutes. Um, Courtney Vandersloot on Brianna Stewart, 6 steals and 4 blocks. She was all over. I'm just admiring her stat line here. Um, Stewie said, "Don't look at my free throws," but then Courtney Vandersloot said she's not perfect, but pretty close. Some lanes that look open are not when Brianna Stewart is on the floor. Sandy Brandello on the reserves, keeping the game close keeping the game close early in the game. She said, "We needed them. It's about us, not I. We make sure that they know that they're important to our overall success." So the bench definitely gave better effort today. I guess everyone is getting accustomed to playing with each other, and they scored. They kept the game alive when the Liberty were down early. I did want to show, since it was a great occasion for Nyara Sabally. She scored her first bucket. Just want to show you how that bucket turned out.
Thornton chases down
She
the
got
rebound.
the ball in the post, gave a little
Nyara
post,
Sabally
spin move up, under, and that girl too little, whoever that is. She too little to guard her. Too little. That's the first of many buckets today. She had, 6 points she had today, and the points all came similar to that. Very just layups, and that's what we need. That's how you get your offensive game started. You get some easy baskets, and then as the game goes on, I know she has range out to 3, but if you could start closer to the basket, get comfortable, see the ball go in, then it'll be easier to score on the outer edges. Yeah, so that was the game today. 81-65. The Liberty are 2-0 at home, 2-1 overall. The Connecticut Sun are 3-1 and 2-1 on the road. This game was a Commissioner's Cup game that we really needed because Connecticut is 3-0 in Commissioner's Cup games. So we're now 2-1 in Commissioner Cup games. So we're right behind Connecticut right now. The next time we will play Connecticut is on June 27th. So about exactly a month from now, we'll be playing Connecticut again. That will be our second and final Commissioner Cup game against the Connecticut Sun. My thoughts about this game that I haven't mentioned already, that I told y'all I wanted to touch on, is the Benijah Laney situation. I've watched Benijah since she's come to New York, and we gave her a lot of the offensive controls, especially when it was just her and Sabrina. She had the ball in her hand a lot. She was that 1A, 1B with Sabrina. And it's tough to see her in the role that she is in now because I know her offensive talents. She can score from anywhere on the floor. But when you're not touching the ball as much and you're just playing hard on defense, it's tough to adjust to that. I haven't seen anything or heard anything from her in regards to being upset with the role because I know she's probably thinking it's best for the team. But as a fan of hers and her offensive game, it's tough to see her in the role she's in right now. I don't know what the best course of action is. Is it to start Kayla Thornton and have her be the sixth person off the bench and get into offensive group with the bench mob? Would she want to come off the bench? That's a question to ask. But I think she's much more than a defensive player, and I know that for the success of the team, it's good for her to be in that starting lineup, bringing that defensive intensity. But I think if we could use more of her offensive game, especially if she can come off the bench when Brianna Stewart and like the Jonquel Joneses of the world go to the bench, we could have some offensive plays for her to get her shine as well. There's still 37 games to go so the Liberty are 2-1 overall, 2-0 at home, and we look forward to the next game. The next game is on Tuesday. It's an away game. They'll be playing the Seattle Storm in Seattle at the Climate Pledge Arena. That game starts at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So just be on the lookout for that. I will be doing a watch along for that game. So come on to the channel. I'll be starting at 8:45 ish. We'll go over the starting lineups, and go over for both teams actually, what I expect to see from this game, and we'll just watch the game together. The game won't physically be on the screen, but I'll be talking through it. If you do want to watch it, it will be on, I believe, NBA TV. So be on the lookout for that. I'll verify that for you guys right now. That next game against Seattle is actually on ESPN2. So you'll be able to watch it there. It's 9 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday. 9 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday against the Seattle Storm. The Seattle Storm off to a rough start to the season. They've lost, of course, Brianna Stewart's her first game back in Seattle since being traded to, well, signing with us. She wasn't traded. They're 0-2, 0-2 and they both lost. They lost both games at home. Excuse me. Jewel Lloyd, if you know Jewel Lloyd, it's basically her team now. So she's getting all the shots she can. But that'll be another test for us going on the road across the country to play Brianna Stewart's former team. I expect her to have a big showing. I expect her to get involved early and often against that team. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in to the vid. Another recap of the games. I'll be doing a recap of every game that we had. The recaps will either come out the same day or the following day. So just make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell anytime I post. And remember, I will be doing the watch along starting 8:45 Eastern for this game against the Seattle Storm on Tuesday. That's it for now, guys. Salute, and I'll see y'all next time.